Hi guys. So today, which is June 19th, the Swedish Parliament had a vote about gun laws. So what did they vote about? Well, there were a shitload of motions in Parliament about gun laws, and a few of them got voted through, most of them weren't. So which one were voted through? And I'll say what that means later. So yeah, first remove any requirements for getting suppressors. So yeah, no more licensing. Usually we had to pay like a equivalent of 20 euros or dollars fee, then we could get our suppressor. None of that anymore. And full auto weapons and handguns had a license that had to be renewed every 5 years, or has a license that has to be renewed every 5 years. They want to remove that as well. And today you can own 4 hunting rifles and 2 more if you can motivate a need, which isn't that hard. They want to extend that so you can own more hunting firearms. And to travel with a firearm in the European Union, you need a firearms passport, but Sweden does not recognize the firearms passport, even though they issue firearms passports for Swedish firearms. So Swedes can travel abroad to hunt and compete, but not the other way around, and you have to apply for a bullshit permit or whatever. Totally unnecessary. And then they want to raise the punishment for gun crime and also smuggling of firearms, and then just have an entire overhaul of the gun legislation with the goal to ease up the legislation and the bureaucracy for legal gun owners. Nothing specific about that, just a general overhaul. We'll see whatever happens there. So yeah, that's Parliament who's decided that this should happen, and what they did basically was tell the government, which is left wing so far in Sweden, that this is the will of Parliament, basically. So yeah, what does that mean? Well, it means nothing, because the government does not give a shit about what Parliament says. It doesn't really... The only real recourse for Parliament to do when the government doesn't give a shit about what it says is to have a vote of no confidence in the government. And they're not going to do that over gun legislation. For example, 4 years ago, well, we still had the same government, basically. The Parliament voted in a new government agency, that a new government agency should be constructed, handling questions regarding hunting and the wildlife in Sweden. And that was 4 years ago, and nothing has happened. And 4 years ago, Parliament also said that the government has to do something about the long handling times for the Swedish Police Department. It's up to 20 weeks in Stockholm for a license for a firearm. And the government hasn't done anything about that either. There's other examples as well. So yeah, the only recourse for Parliament is to vote of no confidence and just remove the government. So that's not going to happen. We have no real opposition in Sweden. And the only people that were against these gun changes in the gun legislation in Sweden were the socialists, the social democrats, the environmentalists, and the communists, the Vänsterpartiet, or the left party. Yeah, so no big surprise there. So they had some really shitty argumentation as well. Basically, they said that guns are only meant for killing, which is obviously not true. Well, a gun is a tool that has any... It is what you use it for. Target shooting rifles are for target shooting. Those who collect firearms never shoot them. That would lower the value. Also in Sweden, if you own a firearm for collecting purposes, you're not allowed to shoot it either. So those take care of our cultural heritage with regards to firearms. And then we have hunters. They of course kill animals with them, but they're not meant for killing humans, which is what the socialists were insinuating, or actually straight up telling us guns are only meant for killing people, something like that anyway. And then the environmentalists, they had a debate yesterday in Parliament, and one guy from the environmentalist party, Miljöpartiet, he had this really shitty argumentation. He's so many things he had just gotten totally wrong on how the law really works and all that. And yeah, so he kept saying that well, we need to have stricter gun laws, because how else are we gonna fight all the shootings and bombings in the streets of Sweden? Which is bullshit, because no legal firearms are ever used in crime. They're all smuggled from Balkans or other sources outside of Sweden, because we have basically no customs that can take care of that, since we're part of the European Union. So you can just fill the car with machine guns and go over the border. It's ridiculous. Yeah, so that's what happened, and I'm not really confident that anything will happen with this. There's some good parts about this, some technical government things, because there's a majority against strict gun laws, or tightening them up. So the Social Democrats and the left-wing party and the environmentalists can't really implement the European gun law legislation or over-implement it. So there's a level they have to keep, but they can't really raise it and just blame the European Union like they usually do when they take your rights away from you. It's a common occurrence in Sweden. So they can't really do that because they don't really have an opinion, or the rest of the parties won't vote for that, and they don't have a majority to get it through. So there's that. And yeah, also they can't really bring up similar cases because this has already been handled by the parliament, so they can't really bring it up again and ask parliament to do something else, because they already set their opinion on this. So this should stay on the agenda for now, but it will probably I'm going to be really surprised if the government actually does anything that's positive for gun owners, because they have a really bad track record of that. But it's still good news. It's the will of parliament, it's the will of the people, the majority of people in Sweden. There's really no popular opinion against legal firearms ownership in Sweden. There never has been. But we have shitty politicians that live in their own little ivory tower filled with assholes that doesn't really care about what the will of the people is. They do whatever the fuck they want anyway, and that's a problem, not just for gun laws. But yeah, it's at least good news. So we'll see if something ever happens with this, though. Probably not. Don't get your hopes up. Don't save money for those suppressors. Buy them immediately anyway. Yeah. So that's that. See you later.